Hello, and thanks for joining us for your CCRC Community News Update. I'm Asia Gore. A lifelong advocate for children and families, CCRC President and CEO Dr. Michael Olenick celebrates this month 20 years of service at the agency. Here's how he reflected on the past 2 decades of work at CCRC.
Every year has been a different story.
In this 20th chapter of his story, Dr. Michael Olenick looks back with pride at the evolution of CCRC.
If you look at our trajectory over the last 10 or 11 years, we've gone from serving about 13 to 15,000 kids to now serving somewhere close to 45,000, and that's still growing.
That growth is impressive, considering the adversity faced by the agency in the early 2000s.
2012, the same people that were suing us back in 2003 then reached out to me and said, hope you're going to apply for the money in San Bernardino County because we think you're the only ones that can manage it, which is a pretty big testament to how much change had gone on in that 10-year period.
And even beyond the time spent at the helm of CCRC, Olenick has dedicated his life to organizations and boards that strive to improve the lives of children.
I've had the opportunity to chair the California R&R Network for 6 years. I chaired Child Care Aware of America for 2 years. I've just chaired the Child Care Alliance of Los Angeles for 4 years. So I never thought that I would be, chairing all these different organizations, but getting the perspective of what's possible.
It's a calling he's felt since early on in his career.
Back in the 1970s, I played in rock and roll bands for most of the decade of the 70s. Never made it, as they say, but I did play with some fairly well-known people at one point. When I got to the end of my music career, my mother said to me, you always like kids, why don't you get a teaching credential? So I said, I got nothing better to do, I might as well.
He worked in the classroom with kindergarten-aged children for 4 years before he decided to pursue his PhD. His degree helped propel Olenick to a position of leadership in the field, but he says leading an agency of over 1,200 staff requires a shared belief in a singular mission.
You don't do this by yourself. I can come up with all the great ideas that I want. As an executive team, we can come up with all sorts of great ideas that we want. But if you don't have the buy-in of everybody on staff, because if you don't feel like you're supportive, how are you going to support the children and the families that we serve?
Between his work at CCRC, his service on various boards, and family life, downtime is little to none.
The hard time is finding the time to get in all the walking. I only did 127,000 last week.
As for what's ahead, Olenick doesn't expect to be sitting here 20 years from now, but he imagines CCRC will have a seat at an even bigger table, finding ways to help children and families thrive. For more than 3 decades, Dr. Olenick has served on numerous boards and committees at the county, state, and national level. When Head Start began in 1965, its founders understood that parents are essential partners in educating young children. They believed parents should help decide how Head Start services can most benefit their family and other families in the community. CCRC's Josue Guajan attended the recent convening and joins us now with more.
The Policy Council offers parents a formal leadership and policy-making role. Through the Policy Council, parents have a voice in decisions about how the program spends money, what children do in their classrooms, and how the program works with the community partners. The Policy Council meets regularly as a group. Members can serve for 1 year at a time or for up to 5 years. They work closely with the program's management team and the government body to provide overall direction for the program.
I really love today's activity because I love the theme, building bridges. And that's what we're doing here. We're building a bridge between CCRC and our parents. And we're here to represent our kids' voices. This activity was great, impactful. Not only that, our kids have a voice, our parents, who are coming and donating time. And the fact that we get supported with CCRC and this lunch and this breakfast is a great opportunity for us to be able to come together, build that bridge, and inspire others and pay it forward.
Policy Council members are elected by parents of the children enrolled in the program. For CCRC News, I'm Josue Guajan. Aisha, back to you.
Thank you, Josue. A recent Head Start resource fair for families helped prepare them for the school year ahead. Families visited the event at the CCRC Reseda Head Start, where they accessed health, nutrition, and family resources. The event allowed families to speak with experts in early care and learning.
Vengo a contarles la experiencia que he tenido el día de hoy aquí con la Feria de los Recursos, ya que no sé muchos temas, entonces me están dando información de varios temas que me llaman la atención, como la nutrición, como el medical o las estampillas. Pues me siento muy feliz de tener la oportunidad de conocer y de saber del tema.
And our program is enrolling. Spread the word about how Head Start gives kids a great head start in life. To ensure all children in subsidized childcare have access to developmental screenings, CCRC hosted a special convening. In partnership with Senator Caroline Menjivar, the event was held at our Sylmar location earlier this month. The goal of the convening was to discuss how to develop referral pathways for children and families to appropriate intervention services. In 2023, Senator Menjivar introduced Senate Bill 635 to begin a program to fund child care agencies to offer these screenings as part of the case management services in subsidized care. The bill was placed on hold to allow time for this critical cross-sector discussion to ensure all partners are included in the planning for this work.
To ensure that we provide the resources to the individual from their first breath, then going on to their last breath, to ensure that we're setting them up to be as successful as possible. We all know the most important years of our lives are between 0 and 5. So I want to make sure that I'm partnering with providers like CCRC and the whole child provider community to bring those resources to uplift not just the child, but the family as a whole.
Did you know CCRC headquarters is located on Tongva, Chumash, and Tataviam land? Modern-day Chatsworth was once home to the Tongva village until the 1790s. Throughout the month of November, we recognize the contributions and achievements of Native Americans. President George H.W. Bush approved a joint resolution in 1990 that designated November as National American Indian Heritage Month. What's now known as Native American Heritage Month was designated by Congress, which chose November since the month concludes Native Americans' traditional harvest season. Plus, it's generally a time of celebration and giving thanks. As of 2023, there are 574 federally recognized tribes in the United States. However, many other tribes are still advocating for recognition. 26 state names are derived from Native American words for rivers. Children and families join us every year for Victor Valley Play Day. It was a beautiful day outside our Sage Street location in Victorville. Hundreds of families joined us for an obstacle course, canvas and face painting, and a reptile exhibit. Parents took home fresh produce from our farmers market and resources from local childcare providers and vendors. Thanks to all our staff and volunteers for making this event a success. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to follow us on social media. Keeping you up to speed and informed, I'm Asia Gore with your CCRC News Update.